Hello, everyone. Jupiter is leaving Aries and entering Taurus on the 16th. And very, very soon after that, it is going to make an exact square with Pluto. Actually, from the moment it enters Taurus, you can call it a fixed square already. So the energy will be there. We are going to look at both charts just to take a look at what changes. And of course, Jupiter leaves a sign and enters another one every year. So it's not such a big deal. It was a big deal from a viewpoint that it was, or still is when I'm recording this, but for the last year, it was in Aries. And whatever Aries represents got blown up by Jupiter, like the war, like conflicts, and all kinds of things that we associate with Aries. And now with Taurus, there will be different focuses, let's put it this way. And it's a very interesting debate that is going on, at least when I'm listening to certain broadcasts and talks and debates. On the one hand, some of them who are very much against the war and want peace, like the Pope, like we Hungarians, we say that there's a very prominent and dire potential of a nuclear war, because you're not attacking. You shouldn't attack a superpower that has nuclear weapons. And on the other side, they say that this is bullshit. It's not going to happen. It never happened before. And yes, there is the United States, which is a superpower with nuclear weapons. And of course, he did lose a couple of wars in the last 50, 60 years. And it didn't, the nuclear war didn't happen. The problem here is that this war is not fought between Ukraine and Russia. This war is fought between two superpowers, because Ukraine is backed by the actually three superpowers, or I don't know how many, because Ukraine is backed by the United States, by NATO, and by the EU. Okay, so these are the allied forces, so to speak, who are against Russia. Why? Because they want to get their resources, because they want to dismantle Russia. It's not going to happen. No one has ever managed this. So that is why there's a valid and clear and present danger of a nuclear war. And with the upcoming Jupiter-Pluto square, unfortunately, this may escalate. This is what I'm afraid of. And we are going to look at the space-time moment. Jupiter enlarges everything it touches, in a good way and in a bad way as well. And just what I mentioned someone the other day is, if I look around, all I see is horrors, difficulties, problems, cries. People are suffering all across the board. Nothing is good. Nothing is prospering. And to me, it feels, I'm very sensitive to energies. And to me, it feels like as if someone had knocked off the toilet or the sewage of Satan, so to speak. And now the whole world is covered by shit, excuse my language. This is how it feels, that we are suffocating under this crap that is falling upon us. And mainstream media is not helping it. And they're actually funneling the whole. And let's take a look at the space-time. Here it is. And it happens so, okay, not here it is. Hold on one second. Here it is. Okay, so Jupiter is entering Taurus on May the 16th at 1820 London time. And Jupiter will remain in Taurus until next year, May 25th. So it's 1 year and 1 week. So let's take a look at the space-time moment for London. As you can see, Scorpio is rising at the very beginning. And there is an applying Sun-Sedna conjunctions. The Sun is highlighting Sedna, suggesting that we need to focus on how to repair things. Sedna means creation through dissection, how you can repair stuff that is non-working. You can actually look at the non-working segments of your life, and you can replace the bits and pieces and form it into something that is workable, usable, manageable. The Sun-Uranus conjunction, of course, is already separating. It's not even there. It's completely out of orb by now. I use very, very tight orbs. So for a conjunction, it's just 4-5 degrees. And Mercury is direct. I don't really care. I'm not almost not ever looking at when Mercury changes directions, because it happens so many times. And also because I'm not usually affected by it. I will mention whether Mercury is retrograde or direct every time I see the change, but I'm not going to indicate it at the moment. So Mercury is still conjunct the North Node. The North Node in Taurus suggests that we need to focus on harmony, money, security creating factors in order to survive the next 18 years when we will have this next opportunity for it. And Mercury highlights this. It fills it with consciousness and also communication and also some sense. Let's put it this way. The Astrea-Vesta conjunction is again applying, and the Jupiter Aries conjunction is separating, and by the fact that Jupiter entered the next sign, it loses its importance. But the moon in this very space-time moment is in Aries, conjunct Chiron. It highlights and illuminates our karmic wounds, but it also empowers it in a way. So it gives, and of course, this moon in Aries is militant, is aggressive, is knows how to assert and how to get what we want. Let's put it this way. And there's an interesting midpoint structure involving Pallas Athena, Black Moon Lilith, and Mars. Black Moon Lilith is, of course, a very strong character. She has the ability to go back to the Garden of Eden to rectify things there. And for this, she needs clairvoyance and also stamina and endurance and honor. And Mars, of course, it's still in Cancer. It's a weak Mars. It is a waning Mars. And Pallas Athena in Leo is quite strong. And Pallas Athena denotes wisdom. So here you have Pallas Athena at the midpoint of Mars and Lilith. And if you put together Mars and Lilith, it means that there's a weak masculine and a strong feminine with wisdom. And if you look at Jupiter itself, what is it going to enlarge? First of all, it enlarges everything it touches, and it enlarges things that are linked to the sign it occupies at the moment, any space-time moment, and in a good way and in a bad way as well. So it's important for you to know that we will have two sides of the coin. Yes, it will fill things with enthusiasm and self-confidence, but at the same time, it will also enlarge the negative factors of these things. Finances is the first thing. If you look at what's happening in the United States, you can see that the banks are collapsing. This could actually mean that the financial system, the world financial system, will not collapse, hopefully, although I have no idea. I have the hunch that they do this on purpose because they want this digital currency. And if they can get away with it, we are going to be screwed. Excuse my language. That's the end of humanity's freedom and democracy right there. It also enlarges security and security needs, and also not just the need, but also the potential that we won't have it. So the opposite can be enlarged as well. Disruption can be enlarged. The same thing comes from harmony. We need harmony. Taurus needs harmony, security, and also well-being, and how we can actually have a nice, cozy life. But it enlarges the lack of it as well. And physical pleasures is something that Taurus needs and cultivates. And again, if you take a look at what's happening all across the board, the pedophile stuff, the LGBTQ, whatever nonsense, this whole sexualization of little children, kindergarten children, it's so incredibly disgusting and so dishonest. Children don't need to know about sex. They don't need to know about differences. Come on. This is the disruption and atomization of human beings. So that will also be enlarged, unfortunately, not just the positive, but the negative aspects as well. And here's the space-time moment for Jupiter Pluto 2 days later. I didn't put in any time because it's really irrelevant, because actually the square is valid and alive from the moment that Jupiter enters Taurus, which was on the 16th. But anyhow, on the 18th, Pluto and Jupiter have an exact, to the minute, exact square, and it will stay within orb, a 1 degree orb until May 22nd. If you work with larger orbs, it will well be within orb until the end of May for sure. And this particular chart is very, very similar to the previous one, but it has some different highlights. First of all, the Sun-Sedna conjunction is a lot tighter. So again, we are being forced to look at what is not working in our society, in our life, in our relationship, in anything that is linked to us personally. And it's going to be highlighted, and we can do something about it. And the moon left Aries and entered Taurus, so we effectively have a stellium, because the definition of a stellium is 3 or more planets in one sign. So you have Jupiter, Mercury, no longer retrograde, but direct Mercury, and the moon in Taurus. And you have, of course, Uranus as well. So it's actually 4 planets in Taurus. So it's a proper stellium now. And the moon is highlighting the Mercury North Node conjunction, and also everything it crosses in 2 days' time. It will reach, the next day it will reach Uranus, and then it will reach the Sedna Sun conjunction as well at the new moon. It's almost the new moon, actually. All right, so this is the space-time moment. And there is a dissociate and dissolved T-square, because what makes this whole thing a little bit even more dangerous than it is Mars's role. But first, let's take a look at what the Pluto-Jupiter square means. First of all, Jupiter-Pluto aspects are usually laced with success, laced with power. Any Jupiter-Pluto is always big. It's always powerful, and it is also a success combination, especially, when it is a trine or a conjunction, then it's the super success aspect. And the square, of course, is not a super success aspect, but it works just as thoroughly when it comes to blowing things up. And the reason why Jupiter and Pluto are combining in such a powerful way is very simple. Nothing is ever enough for Pluto, and Jupiter enlarges everything it touches. So, if I enlarge everything and nothing is ever enough for you, and we combine, you can imagine what the energy pattern will be. The T-square with Mars, which is dissociated because Mars is still in Cancer, and actually will be moving into Leo in a couple of days, and then the T-square will be exact even energetically. But it is bad enough to have Mars in the picture, because Mars and Pluto are always about aggression. Pluto is a higher octave of Mars. Mars is just regular aggression, regular will, regular soldierly. And Pluto is the power behind it, the one who makes the soldiers move, who actually causes them to die. And this is a weak Mars in Cancer, but it will move soon into Leo, where it's going to be a strong Mars. Then it's going to be a fixed T-square. So at the moment, we still have this energy. Anyhow, you also have so the dissolution comes from the Sun Sedna conjunction, and as I said, Sedna is highlighted and also energized by the Sun, so you can actually focus on how to dissect and rearrange your life. Here are the transcendental celestial objects. On Pluto, you have Aries, meaning that the powers that be think that they can get away with murder, they can get away with everything. The whole world is led by either idiots or cretins or dishonest, horrible people. That's the worst, really. That's the worst of the things. On Jupiter, you have Hephaestus and Metis. Hephaestus, of course, is the blacksmith of the gods. He himself is crooked and a hunchback, and so he's not a nice figure, so to speak, not a beautiful figure, but he creates beautiful stuff. Whatever he creates in his smithery is beautiful, and that's what counts. And Metis is the goddess of wisdom, and this gives me hope that maybe, just maybe, wisdom will prevail and will help us to come out of this situation. And on Jupiter, you have two fixed stars as well, Aries, which is Alpha Pisces, which is where the two, Aries means the knot, and this is where the two fish are linked together. The one of them is going to go back to the wheel of existence, the zodiac, and the other one wants to get out and wants to go on a higher dimensional plane. So that's Aries, and then Mirach is Beta Andromeda. Andromeda is the princess who is rescued by Perseus, and she represents feminine joy and success. And on the Sun, you have Algol, which is one of the worst stars, which is considered to be one of the worst stars. And let's say this loud and clear: a star cannot bring anything bad. The star is not part of the solar system. You can't look at the star through human lenses. They always represent something much higher. And Algol is a very, very strong feminine star. It is one of the initiation places for feminine. And then Mors Somnus is a centaur, a TNO, actually, which was very prominent during the pandemic. Very, very prominent, death and sleep. So those who were in a very bad shape were put to sleep before they died, actually. And then Pelion is the mountain where the centaurs live, and it represents the mountain of life that you need to tackle, that you need to conquer. And on Sedna you have Phaeton, Nemesis, Sphinx, secrets. And Nemesis is the punisher of hubris, so it's a revenge asteroid, and Phaeton, which is a cataclysm asteroid. Yes, that's why we need to rearrange stuff. And of course, we have the Pleiades there as well, and the Pleiades are again creating hope, because that is the home of the creator goddess. Okay, here's a little engine of the celestial objects. We have a Pluto, Pallas Athena quincunx, and the Moon Mercury conjunction is forming them into a little engine. Engines provide drive, just like real engines in life. And here you have a Saturn Mercury sextile. Wise thoughts, communication that has a valid base and is true, which is also highlighted by the Moon. Mercury Saturn aspects, if they are bad, if they are like a square or something stressful, usually if I call them the how shall I put it, when you can't utter things, when you are not allowed to speak, when you are not able to speak. But a sextile gives you a valid speech, something that you can actually tell other people. And the moon Saturn aspects denote depression, but they also denote a strong soul. And of course, Athena gives wisdom into this space-time moment. Here are the transcendental celestial objects. On Saturn, you have Paradise, Gong Gong, Deneb, Adige, and Sadrajbia. Then Abadiga is still the swan, the alpha star of the swan, and Salaraj Bia is a star in Aquarius, where the youth is pouring the water of life from an urn, and it's in the water flow, and the whole constellation and all the stars of Aquarius are linked to luck. And Salaraj Bia is the water of life image. And Gong Gong, we spoke about this many times. I'm not going to repeat it, but you can watch the video. There's a video on Saturn Gong Gong conjunction, and then Paradise just moved up to Saturn. And I was looking at it, and we are close to complete annihilation. So are we going all going to Paradise? And the Pluto Jupiter square is going to be exact. I don't know. Hopefully not, because then I should stop worrying about my garden and my grandchildren and my life in general. On Mercury, you have Cerberus, Philosophy, and Arachne. Arachne is a hubris asteroid, and Cerberus is the keeper of the gate of hell. And we need Philosophia to understand everything. And on the moon, you have two strong stars, Hamal and Shadir. Hamal is Alpha Aries, and Shadir is Alpha Cassiopeia, a very feminine and very masculine star. When Hamal is prominent, it means that I am following my own path. And with Shadir, I want to be happy. So those are the stars on the moon. And on Pallas Athena, you have 0. It speaks for itself. And Varuna, which is a funny TNO denoting queen karma, when you need to produce the air no matter what. And we also have an interesting configuration, which is actually not going to be a full configuration because it's not closing in 2 segments. We do have a dissolved opposition between Neptune, Ceres, and the Sun. And we do have a harmony triangle between Neptune, the Sun, and Mars, with the Sun at its apex. Let's take a look at the dissolved opposition. There's Ceres and Neptune. And Ceres, of course, is the nurturing principle, and Neptune is transcendence. Those are now at the moment clashing. And the Sun provides a sextile to Neptune, so it gives us insight. And the harmony triangle has also Mars in it. Mars and Neptune is what I call the Grail Knight aspect. Because it is fighting Mars for a noble cause, Neptune, or fighting for an ideal, and the Sun is highlighting and illuminating it as it is at the apex of the harmony triangle. And of course, Aries is also in the picture, drastically altered outward circumstances, making a quincunx to Ceres, but also a semi-sextile to the Sun. And the interesting thing is that we don't have a classic trapeze because the Mars-Ceres portion is not closing. As you know, for each configuration, I allow a 2-degree orb, and when any of the angles or for instance, the nodes are there, only 1.5 degrees. So it has to be very, very tight. This is not a stage. It cannot be formed. The base is the Ceres-Neptune opposition, and the top is formed. The Mars and the Sun, the sextile between Mars and the Sun denotes some sort of energy, fight, a positive activation of Mars. But this stage is not really created, so you are in thin air, so to speak. And here are the transcendental celestial objects. The Sun has Pelion, Somnus, and Algol. We spoke about this. On Aries, you have Minerva, Medusa, and Aristoteles. So you have 2 strong feminine and wisdom and philosophic wisdom. On Ceres, you have Selene and Osiris, the lord of the Egyptian underworld, and the moon goddess. So that is the exact space-time moment of the Jupiter-Pluto fixed square. It's not a nice configuration. I mean, it's not a nice picture, so to speak. There I don't know what will happen. Hopefully nothing will happen. And I hope that the tense clashes won't escalate to a point where everything is going to erupt. Thank you for listening to me, and bye-bye.